Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. We haven't done anything with 3.5 inch 12 gauge in quite a while, so it's about due time. In this one, we're going to be using my favorite pellet size, which is 31 cal single lot. This is going to be an 18 pellet load in 3.5 inch 12 gauge for a 1 7/8 ounce load. For today's dish, the main course will be a 3.5 inch Remington Premier Hull. Notice the shiny green. That is from Precision Reloading. They had these in stock about 2 months ago, so I bought a bag of them, 100. Now, Precision Reloading gets these 3.5 inch Remingtons in stock about once a month. I've only seen them have the Premier Hull twice now, but about once a month they get in the regular, nitro style hull. Just the plain Remington green with the high brass, they get those in about, again, once a month. And from what I understand, they get these in to pressure test them. I don't know if you can see the bump right here on the plastic, but that is from the pressure testing machine. A couple of side dishes will be a Winchester 209 primer, some blue dot powder, a TPS 3.5 inch wad. This one is unslit, so we have to slit it ourselves. 18 pellets of 31 cal single lot, hard cast, tumbled and polished, and some Ballistic Products ITX buffer, which has now been rebranded to BSB buffer, which is the same thing. This stuff is used mostly for TSS shot, but it can be used for lead too. So let's get started here. Now, if you notice over here, I don't have my 10 gauge press set up, and that has the bolt-on depriming punch, so I'll be knocking the primer out with a hammer and a screwdriver. The Lee Loadall cannot deprime 3.5 inch holes. You have to punch it out with, again, a hammer and a screwdriver. Or, if you're like me, and I know not a lot of people have these because it was custom made, the bolt-on depriming punch. So to do this, I guess it's kind of self-explanatory, but take a screwdriver or anything that'll reach the primer in there, set it over top your primer, get anything hollow, I'm using the resize ring, set your hull on it, and knock the primer out with a hammer. Primer is out. Now to resize this, you need to get a second resize ring because the press does not have enough throw to resize a 3.5 inch hull, or get you a PVC pipe about 1.5 inches tall and big enough around to fit over a 12 gauge shell. This one's actually for 10 gauge, but it works for 12 just the same. See what's going on here? It adds to the height of the resize ring, so you can resize these 3.5 inch hulls. Just like that. A little bit more, actually. There we go. Resized. So, these Remingtons right here have really tall brass. You can see it comes up past the ring. That means the press does not have enough throw to get the ring off. With a Shaddai or a Winchester or anything else, the ring will come off without doing this. But take the primer seating punch and its spring out of your press, and then you can get the ring off. Deprimed and resized. And again, you only have to do that if you're using these Remingtons or any other hull with really tall brass like that. The Winchester 209. That is installed. I know I called this a side dish, but you're going to want to season that with 34 grains of blue dot. We have our 34 grains. Double check it as always. Make sure it's 34, and it is. Now we need a 3.5 inch TPS wad. At least that's what I'm using anyway. Again, this is unslit, so we have to slit it ourselves. But first, we need to trim it down from the full 3.5 inch length down to 2 3/8. So untrimmed, this wad measures 2.44 inches, and that is too tall for blue dot powder. It will work using long shot, but blue dot takes up way too much room in the hull. This needs to be trimmed down to 2.38, which is 2 3/8 inches. And to do that, I'm using Gary Caskey's 12 gauge adjustable wad trimmer. If you want one of these, facebook.com/gary.d.caskey, Caskey. Gary makes, obviously, wad trimmers, hull trimmers, wad slitters, wad tampers, which is these things right here. It is magnetic. It sticks to magnetic, surfaces, just like that. Gary makes all kinds of cool stuff, so facebook.com/gary.d.caskey. So now we have the wad trimmed down to 2 3/8 inches, which is right where you need to be for this load. So to slit this, I'm using another one of Gary's tools, his 10 gauge adjustable wad slitter, 4 pedals. I have it set to do a 3/4 cut, and yes, this one is for 10 gauge, but it will also work for 12. The only real issue it has with 12 gauge is it's a little bit taut coming back off. Also, this will flare out the bottom of the wad for use in thin wall holes like a Shadada or Fiocchi. See, a little bit taut coming off, but we do have a 4 pedal and 3/4 cut on it. See, 4 pedals. Go ahead and throw that inside your hole. Use the wad tamper to seat it. And if you look down inside here, it is exactly where it needs to be for the crimp. Next, we're going to add about 1/8 of an inch of 20 gauge fiber cushion wad, something to make the bottom of that wad flat. We have it right here. I know it's hard to see, but that is there just to make the bottom of the wad flat. It is concaved at the bottom, which makes a pellet sit right in the bottom of the wad. And heavy loads like this, buckshot can actually blow out the bottom of certain wads, the TPS being one of them. That prevents that from happening. And again, it also makes it flat. 18 pellets of hard cast, tumbled and polished 31 cal. Now, normally I would use a Mylar wrap with buckshot inside of a full length wad, but 31 cal is the biggest size you can get inside these. So Mylar wrap just won't fit. It'll make the hull bulge out a little bit. Be stacked by 2s. And 18 pellets of 31 cal single aught comes up right to the top of the wad. In terms of lead payload weight, it's 1.86, which is just below 1 7/8 ounces. If you guys hear that, there is a garbage truck getting the dumpster at the trailers across the road here. Again, I'm using Ballistic Products ITX buffer, which has been rebranded to BSB buffer. That took 2 scoops of the Lee 2.2 cc dipper, and we have a total payload of 1.91, so just a fuzz over 1 7/8 ounces. Lastly, we're going to add a very thin piece of a 12 gauge overshot card. I want to say it's probably about 15 thou. Right on top of your pellets and buffer. Ready to crimp this. And this has a 6-point crimp, so back station of the Lee load all. Looking good. Beautiful crimp. Cannot ask for better than that. And the last thing I'm going to do here is give it a taper. If you want one, go to eBay and look up Lee Load-All Cone Crimp and you will find it. They're about 20 bucks. They come from Ukraine. Before I sign this video off, I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek at some upcoming content that we're going to film at the range this weekend. First, we have some, no, these are not Winchester AA's. These are, but yeah, this time in a 3-inch shell, 410 grain hollow point. That sounds like a light slug for a 3-inch shell. That's because it is. We have tested these out in 2 3/4 inch at very high velocity. We've tested them out in 2 1/2 inch at relatively high velocity. We've tested them out in 2 3/4 and 2 1/2 inch at standard velocity. We have not got great accuracy out of them. So this one is going to be in obviously a 3-inch hull. The Ultra Slug has a 3-inch chamber, and some people have noticed that 2 3/4 inch slugs are not very accurate out of the gun. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Now, personally, we have seen great accuracy out of the Ultra Slug using 2 3/4 inch shells. But it seems like this slug, for whatever reason, really wants a 3-inch shell. So we're hoping we have a lot better accuracy out of these. I did also notice that they could be undersized, so these have a Mylar wrap in them. The slugs are measuring 7.29, But the Ultra Slug, it may have a slightly bigger bore. It might be 730, it might be 731. So that's what the Mylar wrap is for. Next, and no, this is not 16 gauge birdshot. This is, oh, this is a good one, guys. Zinc 690 round balls. They weigh 1 1/16 ounces, pushed by 26 grains of clays. These are supposed to be running about 1550 FPS. I loaded 5 of these before realizing, hey, I don't need that paper towel in there because I'm using a nitro card over the powder. So let me get another one out of here. I'll show you how it's loaded here. We got clays, obviously, and then we have a nitro card to seal the powder, and then a CB 1138 wad 24 gauge nitro card, and the zinc 690 round ball. I was putting the paper towel in there because tapered wad, straight wall hole. I realized I didn't need the paper towel halfway through loading these. And for the oddball gauges, we have some Mr. Hollow Point 505 cal 32 gauge slugs. Specifically, this is a 225 grain slug pushed by 14 grains of green dot, so these should be running slightly over 1400 FPS. These are some more 32 gauge slugs. A Thompson Center 250 grain 50 cal Sabo pushed by 15 grains of long shot. And lastly, some 24 gauge slugs. Specifically, these are the Lyman 20 gauge Sabo slug. If you load them into 24 gauge, they're full bore. And this is pushed by 19 grains of HS6, so we should be getting about 1400 FPS out of these too. So basically, this weekend, me and Josh are having a massive slugfest across multiple gauges. By the way, the time of this recording is August 24th, so when I say this weekend, it's probably 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks now from you guys before you'll start seeing these videos. But if you're on our Patreon, you'll get instant access as soon as we get them edited and uploaded. And speaking of our Patreon, a link to that will be in the description below. It's as low as $1 a month, and like I said, you get early access to content, and every penny we get goes right back into the channel. But anyway, guys, I guess that's going to do it for me. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you. Like I said, a link to our Patreon will be in the description below, and a link to our Instagram and Rumble accounts. But other than that, you guys take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one.